You didn't come here for cliches or recycled advice. You came because of nothing, and you refuses to be ordinary. Cause deep down you know the loudest man in the room is rarely the one who's remembered. In this video we won't talk about pickup lines, gifts or grand stares. No, we're going to reveal something far more powerful. A singly action so calm, so confident, so controlled that it shifts how a woman sees you forever. Not because you tried to impress her, but because you shouted her a man she couldn't control and couldn't forget. So breathe deep, slow down, and let's begin. Because after this, you'll never need to prove herself again. Number 1. The power of an excellent move that reaves you. There comes a moment in every man's journey when he realizes words can fail. Gifts can be forgotten and even but presents pre-incestes. Today, you won't be told how to impress her with fancy dinners, elaborate texts, or exaggerated flattery. No, what you are about to learn is simpler and infinitely more powerful. A single act rooted in self-restraint that changes the way she sees you, not just for a night, but forever. This isn't a trick. This is manipulation. It's not about becoming seminal to gain her attention. It is about becoming so deeply aligned with yourself that her perception is photo shift. You stop being the man one needs her approval and start becoming the man she can't define and therefore can forget. This idea might sound counterintuitive in a culture obsessed with instant gratification and emotional utterings, but in truth, what draws a woman in is not your availability. It is your mystery. It's not your declarations. It's your self-discipline. And that begins with a moment. One moment where she expects you to react, touches to plead, and instead you do the opposite. You stand still, calm, collected, silent. Imagine she's too stingy using sarcasm, distance, or a passive-aggressive comment to provoke you. Mossman fall right into the trap, defending Thumbsville's explaining, trying to fix discomfort, but not you. You don't flinch. You don't raise your voice. You don't even blink. You smile lightly, not because you're dismissing her, but because you're anchored in smoothing shadow. Understand, inner control, that stillness, that lack of emotional reaction disrupts her narrative. In her world, men react, they chase, they try to win her back. But when you don't, when you simply allow the moment to pass without needing to correct or compete, you become unpredictable, intriguing, irresistible. Why? Because aims crave what they can't control. And in that moment, she realizes she doesn't control you. She doesn't even fully understand you. And that's the beginning of a shift, not in her opinion, but in her aim. The Stoic philosophers, especially Epictetus, taught that freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and freedom begins with restraint. You do not react because you are afraid. You do not react because you are free. Free from the need to be liked. Free from the losing someone. Free from the emotional roller coaster that traps so many men. This silent move, the act of not responding when she expects every action, is not weakness. It's power in its most elegant form. And the result, she begins to see you not as the man who will orbit her moods, but as the man whose mood is sovereign, and that, whether she knows it or not, is the man she begins to chase. Number 2. The power of walking away without a word. There is a silence that screams louder than any argument. And it's not silence of defeat, but the silence of after you've mastered thwart of not reacting. The next level of masculine power is this: the silent withdrawal. It happens when she starts playing games, when her attention becomes inconsistent. Her messages, "Welcome back to my channel," deep stoic asterisk, become unclear. Her presence feels like a strategy instead of a connection. She wants you to ask what's wrong. She wants to see you lose balance. She wants confirmation that you still care. But instead of chasing clarity, you walk away. Not with anger, not with drama, just with peace. No message, no explanation, no emotion alcazar. Why does this work? Because for Simeon, who expects emotional fireworks, your absence as it shakes the foundations thought was secure. The idea Thatch had power over your reactions. When you disappear, you disrupt the script in Herman, and suddenly, she starts writing a new one. You see, when most men feel neglected or manipulated, they beg for resolution. They try to prove their worth. They beg for answers, and in doing so, they hand over their dignity. But the Stoic man does opposite. He values his peace more than our confusion. His presence is too valuable to be wasted in spaces that no longer honor it. According to Marcus Aurelius, the best revenge is to bow like him who performed the injury. And in love, that means you don't mirror Hergens. You rise above them. You don't explain your worth. You let your absence light it. She might notice right away, or it might take days. But one thing is certain, your silence will echo in Herman far longer than your words could. Because when a man who wants sudden vanishes, it makes her wonder, did he stop? Was I too much? Did I push too far? Did I lose something I didn't realize I had? You've no transformed from someone who needs someone needs to understand. And here's what most men never grasp. Walking away isn't about punishment. It's not about teaching her a lesson. It's about protecting your soul. It's about refusing to fight for space in a world that's trying to shrink you. When you disappear without warning, you send excellent message. I am here to be chosen. And if I'm not, then I choose myself. This is not detachment. This is depth. This is not manipulation. This is masculine immaturity. Because in absence of your voa, she begins to your value. And if she's the right tone, she'll come back differently. If not, then your salon saved you from years of emotional noise. Number 3, make her wait and feel through it off your absence. In a world of instant gratification, nothing stands out more than patience, especially when it's coming from a refuses to rush for approval. Mossman reply instantly. They rearrange your schedule at the first sign of interest. They cancel plans, pause workouts, skip sleep just to be available. And what happens? They become predictable, convenient, replaceable. But when you make her wait, not out of arrogance, but because your time has value, you shift everything. She starts wondering where you are, who are you with, what's taking your attention away from her. And that, my friend, is where mystery begins. This is not about playing games. It's about shifting Nori. When you slow down your response, when don't jump to accommodate, you're showing her something more powerful than affection. You're showing her self-discipline. Because a man who doesn't rush is a man who doesn't chase evolution. He values his focus, his goals, his solitude. And women sensate. They feel that they may not say it, but they know. A man who responds is not sitting by his phone waiting for approval. He's building, he's moving, he's choosing. The Stoics understood this. Well, Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere," and in modern love, that translates to this. If you're always available, you become a Michdelian Weisel. You must teach her through bever, not words, that your time is a chord. So when she texts, you don't ignore, but you delay calmly, respectfully, maybe hours, maybe a day. When she wants to meet, you don't cancel your workout or your mission. You say, "I'm free later. Let's talk then." You didn't disappear. You reframe that dynamic cause. Now you're not one off money chasing her. You're the one she has to qualify for. And this isn't abutego. It's about energy. When a woman waits for your presence, she starts to value a presence. She realizes you're an escape from boredom. You're our word for patience. This delay, this pause, it's a powerful psychological tool. It creates contrast. And contrast greets suddenly she's checking your story, wondering what's on your mind. She doesn't feel ignored. She feels challenged and feminine energy. Crave challenge. not in conflict but in conquest. You are no longer the man who gives everything. You're the man who gives meaning. So let her wait. Let her feel the absence of your validation. And when you return, do so not to impress, but to connect. Not as a man who's bien Simoned, but as a man who chose to, because real masculine energy isn't about availability. It's about priority. And the more you honor your time, the more she honor your presence. Number 4. Say no without explaining and watch her respect you more. There comes a moment in every connection where you were asked to bend. Maybe it's a request to cancel your plans. Maybe it's a subtle demand to compromise your. Maybe it's pressure to give more than your willing time, energy, even money. And in that moment, how your spin tells her everything about you. If you hesitate, if you justify, if you say yes, just to keep the peace, you may win her approval for a second. You will lose her respect for much longer, because women, even if they don't consciously say it, are drawn to men with spine, not just heart. And a man with a spine knows how to say no. No apology, no explanation, just quiet, grounded clarity. Why? Because when you explain too much, you hand her your pour. You say, I need you to understand me, so you don't leave. That's not masculine energy. That's fear wearing a polite mask. But when you say no, that don't align with me, and stop right there, you shift the dynamics instantly. Now she sees you're not swayed by mood swings, guilt trips, or emotional tests. She sees that your peace matters more than pleasing, that your principles are not negotiable, even for beauty. And this, paradoxically, is what draws her in. You stop being the man who melts under pressure. You become the mountain she has to climb. Marcus Aurelius once said, the impediment to action advance section. What stands in way becomes the way. In relationships, your boundary isn't a wall. It's a path, a filter, a signal. It says, this is who I am. Come closer if you're aligned. Step back if you're in. The truth is, women may test your limits, but they secretly hope you'll pass, because a man who won't betray himself for her is a man she can't trust to lead. And when you say now without drama, you're not shutting her out. You're showing her how you protect your peace and by extension hers. Real connection isn't built on sacrifice. It's built on standards. So the next time she asks something that doesn't sit right, don't argue. Don't defend, just breath and say no. Let her feel your quiet power, because that moment, that might be the most unforgettable thing about you. Number 5. Pull her closet and let go. The power of emotional restraint. There is a kind of touch that leaves not fingerprints, a kind of closeness that makes someone miss you even while you're standing right in front of them. And it happens in one moment when you pull her close, then gently let go. Not because you're in control, but because you're in control. Because you've mastered something 99 of men never will. The ability to hold back, not from fear, but from strength. You see, most men believe key to a woman's heart lies in constantly giving more. More affection, more words, more time. They chase, they offer, they indulge. But the truth is, what awakens a woman's deepest longing is not abundance. It's restraint. It's the man who kisses her forehead, smiles, and walks away. It's the man who listens with presence, holds her for a breath longer than expected, and releases her without a word. Why? Because this man isn't ruled by desire. He's ruled by principle. He doesn't give in to thresh off the moment just to feel needed. He creates tension not to manipulate her, but to remind her he is whole, even insolence, and that to her is electric. Carl Jung wrote that only the paradox comes anywhere near to comprehending the life. In this paradox of presence and distance, of intensity and discipline, a woman sees a mystery she can't define, and that's exactly what keeps her coming back. When you can't resist the urge to consume her energy, when you can give without clinging, and love without losing yourself, you show her something few men never do. emotional severity. You don't need to own her. You don't seek to fill a void. You offer connection from a place of fullness and let her step forward when she's ready. That short embrace, that half smile before turning away, it lingers, it haunts, it stays with her when no one else is around because it'll a story not of neediness but of depth. A man who can pull her close then walk away is unforgettable, not because of what he gave, but because he off what hadn't. Number 6. The final message. Becoming man she can't forget. There is a kind of power that speaks with it raising its voice. It lives in pauses between your words and the calm and your eyes and the boundaries you refuse to cross. Not to punish her. Budo, protect yourself. This power doesn't chase. It doesn't explain. It doesn't apologize for being whole. It simply is. And that changes everything. Because in a world where most men sell themselves for attention, validation, or comfort, you become a storm of calm, airy force, the kind of man who doesn't need to prove his worth because his very silence speaks it. That one moment when you didn't respond to provocation, thought design when you walked away instead of pleading for attention, thought word, not spoken without fear or explanation. Those are not acts of withdrawal. They are acts of presence. Each one signals, I am not here to be consumed. I am here to be respected. And the irony, it's that exact refu chase that draws her closer. She starts to wonder. Share plays your words. Your absence becomes louder than Elsa's presence. Your distance feels more intimate than any own affection because you didn't try to buoy. You simply honor it yourself, and that burned a shape into her memory. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, waste no more timorgang what a good man should be. Be owned so. Don't perform. Don't overthink. Don't force. Live with discipline. Act with integrity. Walk with clarity. Let your stillness speak louder than her games. Let your boundaries reflect your worth. Let your restraint ignite curiosity in ways that need no explanation. And in doing so, you will not just earn her attention, you will haunt her soul. If you've ever done something that changeth way a woman looked at you, not through words, but through strength, type unforgettable in comments. And if you're ready to become the kind of man who doesn't need to be loud to bear, remember, subscribe and know, because the quietest men often leave the loudest echoes. You didn't chase. You didn't explain. You didn't bend yourself into the shape you wanted. You simply stood us. You are our and that left a mark. Because in a world of noise, your silence become unforgettable. In a world of weak boundaries, you're, no, I'm sacred. In a world of men begging to be seen, your absence became magnetic. So remember, it's not what you say,